discussed it throughout the offseason that a main reason Kansas City is going to be successful is their rookies. And we're going to dive in a little bit on how those rookies have produced throughout training camp. But before we do that, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video, as I will keep you up to date on anything Kansas City Chief related that you do not want to miss out on. And without further ado, let's dive into these rookies. Today is day 2 where the players get strapped up and put the pads on. And it is also day 2 of basically giving me a heart attack where we have another injury scare. Yesterday we dealt with Patrick Mahomes. He seems like he was fine. He was running around. He looked like he was having fun. He was doing his thing. Today, Skyy unfortunately got hurt in a collision. It looked like it was his hip injury, and he mentioned on Instagram that everything seems okay in a comment, and that's great to hear. If anything, he might take it easy from here on out. The training staff might not have him go out there, just with precaution, if anything, is what I will say. And I think that's how we need to do, is proceed with caution with this, because as I mentioned with rookies early on, definitely in this system, we don't tend to see it often, but Skyy might be a different case and scenario with it, because what he has shown and proven in training camp is he can get a grasp of this playbook and he can become better every day. And that's what we've seen him, is he has become better every day. So he might be someone you need in this offense early on. Definitely when you have a wide receiving core who, even though there's a lot of players in there and there is a lot of potential, there is a lot of question marks. But let's just put this out here as well. Skyy has a chance to be Rookie of the Year if he keeps proving what he can do in training camp, and if he can start early on and he becomes one of Mahomes' favorite targets. He could be a secret weapon that no one is expecting, because when you look at it, the league might be thinking, hey, Juju can have a bounce back year. Maybe McCole Hardman takes over for Tyreek Hill just in the speed asset, and maybe he has like a contract year, because we all know that is undefeated. No one expects really Skyy to produce right away. Hell, I don't even either. I expect that to come in October and November. But if he grasps this offense really well, and if he has a stellar preseason, and if he shows out to where Coach Reed can't but not put him on the field, he could be your Rookie of the Year, and you might want to bank on it right away. I'm excited to see what Skyy can produce. Let's just keep him healthy before September. Yes, I don't mean like keep him healthy, like stash him. You heard me yesterday. Coach Reed doesn't do that. But let's get him right, let's get him able, and let's get him ready to go. And let's just have fun with it and see what he can produce. I think he could be a deadly weapon this year and in the future too. We all talk about we need that Tyreek Hill replacement. He might be our guy. And yes, now let's not go crazy and say, oh, Tyreek Hill replacement, you're going to say he's going to do that in 1 year? No, nowhere near. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is he can be that committee with this wide receiver core to where they can put those numbers up to where, hey, are we really missing Tyreek like that? Maybe not. When you got Patrick Mahomes at your quarterback, anyone and any who can ball out. So I'm excited to see how this wide receiving core plans out, and I'm excited to see what Skyy can do this year. Now let's dive into this crowded running back room. But we're not even really going to focus in the running back room. It's just his position, Isiah Pacheco. Dave Toub actually announced that he's going to be the starting kick returner throughout camp and probably throughout preseason week 1 and 2 until Pacheco basically loses that job. Now this is very, very interesting to hear, because we all know that with Dave Toub, he gets like a handful of guys on this roster. And if he likes them, Coach Reed will side with them. So if you're a Dave Toub guy, you are on this roster. Like, ink it and pin. Like, there's hard to erase them. Dave Toub will get his guy. So it's interesting to hear that Isiah Pacheco is the starting kick returner. No issue with me whatsoever, because first thing, I love Isiah Pacheco's attitude, I love his ability, and I love just the type of player he is, and I want him to be on this roster. And honestly, if you're just focusing on this crowded running back room, it's hard to see Kansas City carrying 4 running backs. And honestly, that's going to be the next point I bring in here too. You got a Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you got a Jerick McKinnon, you got a Ronald Jones, you got a Derek Gore, you got a Isiah Pacheco, you got a Jarian Ely. This list goes on and on. KC doesn't tend to hold 4 backs. What they usually do is hold 3. They'll stash a couple on the practice squad, and then of course injuries, things like that happen throughout the year. Someone gets called up. But Isiah Pacheco might have found his way on this roster, and it might be through special teams. And honestly too, let's just throw special teams out the way. He's been running with the ones too. I think his speed in training camp has shown, hey, he might need to play like in some type of form, whether it's like quick screen passes, third downs, some way. Pacheco is finding a way to get himself on the field, but he mentioned it on draft day. He's here to take a grown man's job, and he is doing just that. It is going to be interesting to see how this running back room breaks down because, like I mentioned, all those names, who's going to be the short man out? Honestly, if I'm looking at it right now, even if you let's say Kansas City trades Derek Gore, and I'm a huge Derek Gore fan. He honestly brings the type of attribute that no one else on this team does, and the straight power too. But he's also got straight line speed too that he also showcased last year too. And that's what I think puts him on the trade block to where someone will trade a low 6th or 5th round pick for him, and the KC gets a steal because he was an undrafted guy. But then that still puts you in a situation like Jerry Ely has also shown he should be on this team too. And then you got all these other guys that I mentioned. What is the Kansas City Chiefs going to do in the running back position? It's crazy to even question it because when you look at it genuinely, you're like, this is a weak group. Come on now. Like I mentioned, they don't have a superstar there that we don't know of. CEH could show out. He could have his best year. Yeah, I could put a superstar label on him. A lot of Chiefs Kingdom don't like that. I can do it. I love the way he's looked in camp. He had a crazy run today. He looks more explosive than ever. He looks like he's got his agility. He's got his vision. I don't know. I'm banking on him to have a good year. And then Ronald Jones, he also showed his explosion today as well. It's like this running back group is crazy. And I'm interested to see how it goes down. But one thing that is coming to fruition is Isiah Pacheco going to be on this football team. Now let's hop on the defense side of the ball. And let's talk about George Karlaftis. Yep, I pulled the Travis Kelce. Honestly, I probably even messed that up too. But George Karlaftis. Now, I love what he's bringing to this team. Like Andy Reid's mentioned it in minicamp and OTAs, but the motor on this kid is relentless. But that's not what caught my attention today. What caught my attention was he had his presser today, and what he mentioned in his conference was, hey, whatever I can do to make us be aware that we're going to be playing in February in Arizona, that's what I need to do. That is some impressive stuff to hear from a rookie. Now, rookies usually focus on making themselves better, getting ready for day one, getting those jitters out and things like that, and just finding a way to be their best self. And handed, he probably is doing that too, but to know that what type of team he is on and what type of position he is in, that his position in a pass rusher, to say he's going to be a key component if this team is going to make a Super Bowl run, and he's well aware of that, and he wants to make sure he's going to do anything in his right to get the Kansas City Chiefs to the Super Bowl. You got to love to hear that from a rookie. It's honestly some sound, music to my ears. We've heard it from Patrick Mahomes early on when he came in his first year right after Alex Smith left us. He knew he had a championship roster and he had to be that next piece to take us over that hurdle too. George Karlaftis knows that he might be that missing piece, not just to take the Chiefs to the Super Bowl, because we've been there, and it's not like we've done that because we're trying to get back there, but build a championship defensive caliber team. That's something we haven't had in a while. And if George Karlaftis is that piece to turn it around, that's something I'm excited to see. Like I mentioned, he is a bull rusher. He is relentless. Him and Andrew Wiley have been having matchups, and I love seeing it. They've been going for tit for tat. He's won some. Andrew Wiley's won some. That's the matchup in camp for me right now because they are dog fighting it out there, and I love to see it. But George Karlaftis is setting a tone, and I love to see it because the rookie is establishing a mentality that needs to be known throughout this defense. So it's good to hear a rookie saying that, but I also know he's heard it from the likes of a Chris Jones and Frank Clark too. So they're setting the leadership, and it's spreading throughout this defense, and I'm glad to hear it. Now to wrap up this video, we are going to dive into the play of the day. And as you see it highlighted, it is Juan Thornhill making an impressive pass breakup on Corey Coleman. But honestly, today was a hard day to choose a play of the day because you had McCole Hardman basically take it 40 yards off a direct snap. Mahomes met him in the end zone. That's let me know Mahomes was healthy and he was doing fine too. You had Ronald Jones break an impressive run. You had CEH break an impressive run. There was amazing plays throughout the day, but I wanted to show a little respect to the defense, and I wanted to show a little respect to Juan Thornhill because he's a guy a lot of people aren't mentioning. But he mentioned it himself. He's in for an all-pro season. He's in for his best year to date of his career. We all focus on Justin Reed. We do focus on the rookie safety, Brian Cook, too. Juan Thornhill is the one who's been here. Andy Reid's mentioned it too this year, and even Spagnuolo, is that Juan Thornhill's coming with a different presence. Whether it be on the field, in the locker room, you hear his voice. He wants to be a leader. You can see that playmaking ability show up just in that play alone. If he has that basically athletic ability back that he had before his torn ACL, which I'm not doubting, I know he does, and if he becomes a true leader in the locker room and his voice is heard, he might really be in for an all-pro year, and that's some exciting stuff to see because, like I mentioned with George Karlaftis too, this defense needed a new presence, they needed a new tone, and maybe they needed a new voice to turn it around, and Juan Thornhill can be that guy. But I'm going to wrap this video up, Chiefs Kingdom. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video because I will keep you up to date on anything Kansas City Chief related that you do not want to miss out on. And with that, I'm checking out. Y'all take care.